My 10-year-old daughter created a Pathfinder 2nd Edition character following the character creation guidelines that are in the core rulebook. I'm going to take her notes, and I'm going to import that character into a tool called Pathbuilder, and I'd love for you to join me. Let's roll. Hey friends, I'm Brian at Jacoby, and today we're going to take a look at a Pathfinder 2nd Edition character that my youngest daughter created. She's 10 years old, and we went through the character creation process outlined in the Pathfinder 2E core rulebook. She wrote everything down on this piece of paper, and I'm going to take her notes and I'm going to add it into a tool called Pathbuilder. If you're not familiar with Pathbuilder, it is a very handy character creation, character management tool that's available for mobile devices, and they also have a web-based app. Both of these you can use for free, but there's also some additional functionality that's unlocked if you pay for it, and it's not a very expensive application. I've paid for it both on my desktop and my mobile device. I think it's around $5 or $6 for the license for each of those two platforms, so it's not terribly expensive. If you have the money, I suggest trying this out, and then if you have the money, donating to that. So where did this all start? I ran through the Pathfinder beginner box with my two daughters and had them use pre-generated characters as we ran those adventures. My older daughter took the role of Mauricio because she's super fond of rogues, and she's played a little bit of D&D 5e with her friends, and so she played a rogue there as well. So it kind of made sense to her sort of what a rogue character would do and what they're responsible for in an adventuring party. My younger daughter took the role of Ezrin because she wanted to play somebody who could cast spells. She's super into like Harry Potter and stuff like that, so that was interesting to her. During the course of the adventure, one of the things that came out is that my younger daughter wanted to perform for NPCs and sometimes even for enemies along the way, which was kind of fun. She wanted to perform and make friends. She wanted to affect the outcome of social and combat interactions by performing. And obviously, Ezrin is not really well suited to that because he's a wizard, and so that didn't really work out to its maximum benefit, but we still had fun with it. And I had her roll performance checks if she wanted to sing and things like that. And if it was an outright failure, I noted she was singing out of key, or things just weren't very good, or people didn't appreciate the performance and stuff like that. But that will affect her character concept, which is coming up next. But after we played through the beginner box, my younger daughter wanted to create her own character that was more in alignment with sort of the vision that she has for an adventurer. So step one in the character creation process, as outlined in the core rulebook, is to come up with a character concept. My daughter's character concept is to have a small of stature hero who is an entertainer and has a big nose and a fun hat. Those were kind of some of the guidelines that she had. So it was a very visual representation of what her adventurer looks like. One of the really fun things about this, for me, both as a father and as somebody who has enjoyed role-playing games for a very long time, is to watch the character creation process from the perspective of like somebody who's brand new at this, and especially for a younger child who really is just kind of, drawing on examples from books or TV shows and things like that, as opposed to somebody who's been at this for a very long time, has an idea of what a typical fantasy adventure might look like, and thinking about how do I optimize this character to best fit a party? How do I optimize this character so that my vision of what this character is going to do is, sort of maximized, stuff like that. So she's coming at this completely fresh, and I love that because she is not overburdened with rule sets or past experiences to guide her in this. It's truly just her imagination is able to just bloom. So I'm going to flip around to my desktop, and we're going to take a look at Pathbuilder. And so this is where I'll be putting in the character that my daughter created. I actually created my own little set of crib notes here because her scribbles on here are a little bit all over the place because she's a kid. So we started out talking about Ancestry, and one of the things that she had said, she wants to have a character who is small of stature, with a big nose and a cool hat. So I showed her the core rulebook. We talked about each of the races, and I explained a little bit of background of each of them: humans, elves, dwarves, gnomes, halflings, etc. And then I also got the advanced player guide out to walk her through that as well. And she was very much drawn to a gnome character. I think primarily based on some of the images and sort of what she knows about gnomes. So certainly kind of fits the vision of a small of stature hero who might also wear a fun hat. For background, we went through the backgrounds that are in the core rulebook primarily, and she agreed that for the type of character that she wants to play, entertainer was the best fit. Her class, of course, as you might guess, is a bard. So again, we went through each of the classes and I explained what each of them might do. And when I mentioned that bards are typically singers or poets or performers, that was the selling point for her. So we have a gnome bard with an entertainer background. I'm going to go. So the Pathfinder core rulebook has the character creation steps slightly different than the way that it's laid out in Pathbuilder. I'm basically just going to be starting out on the left side menu of this and going through each of these steps, and then we'll get into the central pane as we go along. But the way that this is laid out, it makes a lot of sense, and I rather like it. So now we get into setting abilities. So gnomes start out with a bonus to Constitution and Charisma and a penalty to Strength. They get one additional attribute for boost, and she chose Dexterity because she wants to have a very nimble, charismatic type of character. For background boosts, Dexterity and Charisma were the two choices that she picked. Again, creating a charismatic and nimble character. And for the class boost, of course, because she's playing a bard, there's really only one choice, and that is to go with Charisma. For the free boosts, so we get 4 free boosts here, and she said Charisma, of course, Dexterity, Constitution, because she wants to have a character who is healthy, maybe gets a little bit of a bonus to hit points if possible. And she also chose Intelligence because she wants her character to be a little bit smarter than just kind of the default normal populace, I suppose. So that finishes that up. Now we're going to hop into skills. And for skills, she chose Acrobatics, again, because she wants to be a very nimble character. Crafting, because she thought it would be fun if her character were able to create things, little necklaces or bracelets, friend bracelets, kind of that sort of thing. She chose Deception because while she might like to be friends with a lot of people, it also might be helpful to be able to lie to people. Diplomacy, again, because that's going to be a boost to making friends with people. She chose Stealth as one of her skills, and so that those are the first round of base skills that she chose. And we get one extra skill for her intelligence bonus. So Thievery was enticing to her. She liked the idea of having a thievery skill. So that finishes out our attributes, our skills. Now we're going to get into heritage. And this is where things got kind of fun. We talked about each of the heritages that are available for gnomes, and she decided Sensate Gnome made the most sense to her. because in her mind, if you remember from when I was describing her picture of her character, she said she wants her character to have a big nose. And she decided that Sensate Gnome makes sense because her character has a big nose, so perhaps her bonus to perception is because she can smell things better. So she chose Sensate Gnome there. And then for Ancestry feat, she chose Animal Accomplice, which basically grants her a familiar at level 1. When we talked about Muses, she decided that the Maestro Muse was the one that she understood the best and made the most sense to her. So that is her level 1 character as far as the basic outline and stats for her character. Then we decided to get into gear. For gear, we took a very simple route, and we chose an adventuring kit for her bard. So if we hop down here, so the bard kit, and then she also said, because her character has a little bit of a roguish tilt to things, she also wanted to have a set of thieves' tools. So those are the two things that she bought. And like all good character creation tools or character management tools, once you purchase that gear, it shows up in the appropriate places. So if we head over to weapons, you'll see that dagger and sling and rapier all show up on this character sheet. Under defenses, studded leather, which comes as part of the bard kit, is available here, and it also updates her armor class as expected. One of the benefits of using a character generation tool or character creation and management tool that I appreciate is that it keeps track of all of your cumulative bonuses, provided it's working correctly. This is very helpful to me because, especially when I'm creating characters, I kind of swap back and forth between different decisions, and I can't count the number of times that I've been in character creation process and either forget to add a bonus or forget to remove a bonus from a previous choice that I have changed. And I end up at the end sort of going through and kind of making sure my math checks out and things get wonky. So this for me is a huge benefit. I love having the ability to keep track of everything in here and not have to keep track of it in my head or on my paper, which gets very messy as I go. But I really like Pathbuilder. It's a very simple tool, keeps track of things very well. Spells. We talked about her cantrips. For most of our conversation was around cantrips. One of the things that she was requesting when we were talking about gear is, could she have a microphone? Because she might need to project her voice while she's performing. And I explained, well, there's not really a sense of a microphone in the way that we think about it, but maybe she has a bullhorn or something like that. And then remembering through the course of talking about these cantrips that bullhorn is a spell that's available is pretty awesome. This comes from the Secrets of Magic book, and of course, because Pathfinder content is available under the OGL, it is available here in this tool. So all of the books that are released by Paizo, the pure mechanics are listed in here. And there may be some books that have recently come out that are not in here yet, but they will be shortly. I haven't looked to see what all is currently supported, but it is pretty much everything. So Bullhorn was a clear choice for her. Detect Magic was a useful spell that she enjoyed using quite often. Obviously, if we get into a party, depending on what anybody else might be choosing as a character class, maybe she'll swap out Detect Magic for something else later, but that was something that she wanted to begin with. Mage Hand, she had a lot of fun playing with Mage Hand as Ezrin. Let's see, Phase Bolt was an offensive spell that she wanted to use. And then, what was it? Ghost Sound was the other one that we talked about because she imagines, having a backup band or maybe some entry music, things like that, could be fun use of the ghost sound cantrip. So now let's hop into level 1 spells. So we spent just a very little bit of time talking about this. Biting Words, again, from Secrets of Magic. She really liked this idea of having a spell that she can cast and then sort of heckle someone or offer them a sick burn, and it does physical damage to that person. She was absolutely delighted by that. So, Biting Words is one of her spells, and then Sleep was the other one that she liked. The idea that she might sing someone a lullaby and have a magical effect of them perhaps falling asleep. For her Muse spell, Soothe, which is kind of a fun little spell, was the additional spell that she gets from her Maestro Muse. And we didn't really talk about focus spells or ritual spells, but we'll talk about that as we play the game. And then because she has a familiar, we have a pets tab in here, and she decided that her pet is named Casper, and it is an albino python. And one of the things that she liked the idea of is using her mage hand to kind of make Casper dance around as part of her act. Details. So deity, we talked a little bit about sort of how in this fantasy world, and we're going to be playing, these characters will be played primarily in Golarion. So we talked about some of the Golarion deities, and Shaylin, the goddess of beauty and art, was seemed like a good choice. Shaylin, I think that's how it's spelled. I should go double check, but that's who she decided will be her deity. And then we chose neutral good, sort of talked about what alignment is, and how it maps out with different personality traits, and just through the way that she was playing Ezrin during the beginner box, we decided neutral good seemed like a good alignment for her. Not primarily because she's not necessarily always going to side on the side of law. She's also not going to take things in a very chaotic way, but she wants to have a very balanced but positive outlook on things. Her age, I thought we had written this down, but I don't see it in here. I don't see it on this list, so I'll have to go back and look, because I can't, off the top of my head, remember how long gnomes live, like what their average lifespan is and stuff. But we picked sort of a little bit low on the scale because she's just getting started with this. She is female. She, her. And languages. So gnomes, if I remember by default, start out with Common, Gnomish, and Sylvan. And then we also said Speaking Elven seemed like a good fit. So there we go. On the feats tab, we have the feats listed out here for class feats, ancestry feats, skill feats, things like that are all listed out here. And then actions, kind of a fun thing, administering first aid, stuff like that. So these are all things that you can get a little bit more information about if you're looking at this from within the Pathbuilder toolset. Let's see. She did pick a character name, but I'm going to keep that to myself. That's between my daughter and I. It's kind of her personal name, so I'm going to name this Bardly Bard, because that's a fun name for a bard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this PDF available. You can download it if you'd like, and take a look, see what you think of it. Put it in your campaign if you want as an NPC, and if you do that, leave me a note and let me know what you did. I might also add some roleplay notes and things like that based on how my daughter might roleplay her bard. One other thing that I will say about Pathbuilder, a fun thing, is that over here in the left side menu, I can level up my character. So I can plan my character out in advance. So I can set my feats and things like that all the way up through level 20. These changes that I make on the left side menu are not going to go into effect until I change my level up here. If, for example, I said I wanted to have maybe, let's see, Inspire Confidence as my class feat at level 2, and then let's see, Acrobatic Performer as my skill feat. So if I go over to my feats tab, you'll see only my level 1 feats are listed here, and when I move to level 2, only then does Inspire Competence and Acrobatic Performer, only then do they show up on this list of feats. So I like that, because in other character creation tools, like I still use Hero Lab quite a bit, I didn't have the ability to map out my character in advance quite the same way. I would have to save separate instances of my character. And this is very helpful, because now my equipment, the money that I have collected, things like that will still show up in my gear. And only when I hit the next level can I have my pre-planned set of feats and things like that show up on my character sheet. So I really like that. Under menu, here is where we can output or export in PDF the character sheet. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to output this for my daughter. I'm going to hand it off to her for when we're playing. Generally, we use pen and paper while we're at the table, because I don't want my kids right now to be over worried about having electronics at the table and relying on software to kind of keep track of things. I would rather have them look at this piece of paper and do a little bit of math while we're doing things. So here it is. This is for character sheet in PDF form. While some of the artwork is a little bit different, you can see that this follows the same format as the Pathfinder sheets that are available. So yeah, this has everything that she will need. We'll put it into a page protector so that she can use a dry erase or wet erase marker to kind of keep track of hit points and things like that as we go. So we'll flip back around. That's my daughter's first Pathfinder 2nd edition character. Going through the character creation process was very easy. And so part of my reason for making this video is to emphasize that my 10-year-old daughter did this. Please don't panic about the character creation process. If you're coming at this from a different game system, either Pathfinder 1 or D&D 5th edition or D&D 3.5 or GURPS or Fate, whatever you're coming at this, whatever direction you're coming from, this is a fairly simple process. Pathfinder 2e has done a really good job, I think, of helping to guide your choices to maximize the effect of your character. And I really appreciate that. So again, my 10-year-old daughter was able to grasp this concept while I explained to her some of the basics of like what different attributes are for, what the various ancestries are, and stuff like that. These choices were hers. She decided on these things based on her idea of what a fun character could be. So don't be afraid. Go create some characters. Go create thousands of characters. And then sort of imagine what each of those characters might do during the course of an adventure. There will be links in the video description below to the Pathbuilder 2e website, as well as to the various app stores where you can download this for your mobile devices. I will also have a PDF of this character that I just walked through that you can check out and put it in your campaign. If you put this character in your campaign, drop me a note and let me know how that worked out for you. I'd be very interested in hearing sort of people's experience using little characters like this. And I might even kind of make a little habit of creating little characters that my daughters and I have come up with over time, either player characters or NPCs that we've dreamt up. Thanks for watching. If you thought this was interesting, hit like and subscribe. I super appreciate that. I appreciate you. And until we meet again, roll well, my friends.